Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you live from the comfort of my bed, and, and I don't think I'll be leaving it anytime soon. All right, so as I mentioned in my message, I'm going to go over the 5 questions that I worked through with my seminar yesterday. Again, you know, if you're confident with these syntax trees already, I really do recommend doing these quickly and then going on to work on questions 10 and 11 on page 179, because that is going to help you with the homework and give you a really good primer for Monday's lecture, where Professor Libin is going to go over these movement and inversion uh, things. Damn. Okay. Let's just jump into it. Where are we? Okay. What was the first one again? I think it was this one. All right. So the first thing what we tended to be doing yesterday in seminar and seemed to help people was start with the easiest things first. So by now, labeling the parts of speech should be pretty easy. Oh, I made a mistake there. All right. So one of the things that came up quite often is this idea that the modal auxiliaries are going to be tense markers. So in this case, should is going to be the T, right? So other than that, there's nothing really that special about this tree. Oh, that maybe there's one other thing that I should mention. So we're going to make our noun phrase over here. So that's already half of our overall tense phrase that's finished already. I'm just going to go ahead and connect this up. Why not? And the other thing that will definitely trip people up when it comes to doing this on the exam is making sure that these verbs are not alone, that they get to be part of a verb phrase. So move that up there. And so now we just have our noun phrase, our T, and our verb phrase that all want to attach up to the TP. So when we have 1, 2, 3 things that want to attach to one node, we need to add in an additional one. And that's going to be the T bar. And so that T bar just gives us an extra landing site so that we can connect all these branches and retain our binary branching requirement. I've gone over this in I went over it in one of the videos. Maybe I should just reiterate that. So the binary branching is one of the underlying assumptions of this form of syntax. So what binary just means a pair or two. Uh, like computer language is just ones and zeros. It's called binary code. It's just two kinds. And so binary branching just means that each of these nodes should have a maximum of 2 branches connecting to it. So here we've got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, and here we've got 1, and that's just fine. I'll highlight this again when I go into the next question. All right, let's go on to the next one. I think that was the shelf. Okay, so same thing, pretty easy. Determiner and T, and then the verb, very similar to the last one. So I'm gonna do all the same kinds of things. Got my MP, got my VP. Right. That's like that. Excellent. Okay. Um, so now if I just think about this, I've got my TP up here, and again I've got 1, 2, 3 things that want to attach, but I can't do that. So I need to add an additional node. I've been calling them nodes. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I should be calling them. Uh, and then I can attach this up there. So we can see this idea of binary branching is one of the underlying motivations for including these bars, like these T bars and N bars and V bars. It just gives it an extra place to attach onto. Oh, I'm not sure which one's next. Let's just do this one. All right. So just like before, I'm going to label my parts of speech. Determiner and noun. All right. So again, let's stick with the easiest things first. So I'm seeing determiners and nouns together. That's always going to mean that there's a noun phrase. Determiners can only attach to nouns. Alright. I hope my voice is clear enough to hear on the video. Alright, so now oh, I've got my book in front of me this time. So there is something quite useful. Let me just find it. The book provides us with lists of potential complements for each kind of phrase. So where's that? Yeah, okay. So it's on page 150. On page 150, well, basically for noun complements, prepositional, for noun phrases, adjective, adjectival phrases, and prepositional phrases, the only kinds of things that can attach are prepositional phrases. And in the case of a prepositional phrase, a noun phrase can attach as the complement. Um, but for verb phrases, we have a really, really long list of potential things that can attach to that can be the complement of a verb phrase. So I would suggest checking that out. It does help. So one of the things that it says there is that a noun phrase can be the complement of a verb phrase. So what that means is that I can easily attach these two together and make a verb phrase. All right, and this is going to be my TP. All right, so again, this time I only have two things, right? So you might think, oh, well, maybe I don't need that T bar. But if we look at this word lost, well, lost is carrying some tense information. So we need to indicate that. So what I really need here is I need this floating T. And what that floating T is going to be is, well, plus past. Because we're basically thinking in terms of whether something is in the past or not. So lost is the past form of the irregular verb lose. So we are going to say the sentence is plus past. So this will connect up to the T here, and then all we have to do is link everything up. So there we go. So now we've got this tree structure with a noun phrase complement for the verb phrase and a tense marker that is indicating the past, and that is this word lost here. So we're just including it here. All right. Yeah, this is the next one. Okay. So just like usual, let's add in our parts of speech. Never is going to be an adverb. And jails a verb. And shoplifters is a noun. All right. So I'm starting to see some noun phrases. I'm going to add those in. So again, just to reiterate, these individual words do want to be part of a phrase. As we discussed a little bit in lecture, phrases seem to have this unique, well, maybe not unique, but they seem to have psychological reality in the sense that when we shuffle sentences around, um, we usually leave these phrases intact. So that's, oh, I forget what that's called. There's a word for it that's in the book. And the other check is the substitution check. So what that means is that, if you were to remove the subject from the sentence and replace it with a subject pronoun, like he or she in the case of the judge, so we might say that she never jails shoplifters. No, we wouldn't say the she, we just say she. So that seems to indicate that, well, in when we're producing speech, we have this ability to recognize and then remove units at the phrase level. So that's the reason why we always want to make these into phrases because, well, it seems to be the way that our brain is dealing with this information. All right, let's get my TP up here. All right, so here, well, here's an issue because I have three things over here that all want to be part of the verb phrase, but I only have Well, I can't just write verb phrase and then connect all three up to it. That's not going to work. Let's just add my verb phrase up here first. All right, so if you go to page 166, it talks about modifiers. And an adverb is a modifier. And I just realized that just as I was talking about the importance of creating phrases, I forgot to do one myself. That's going to be an adverbial phrase. So it talks about adverbial phrases and adjectival phrases as modifiers. And these the important piece of information that they give is that these can't attach, well, they have to attach above complements. So I'm just going to show you one way of doing that is not right. So one way you might think of doing this is adding your V bar here, right? And then connecting these up like that, and then connecting these up here, right? So, you know, this looks fine, right? We have our binary branching, 1, 2, and 1, 2. We have our V bar that's connecting this up. But the reason that this is wrong is that the reason that I just said was because adjectival phrases or modifiers have to attach above complements. So what does that mean? Well, let's add our V bar in here, connect our V, sorry, and our NP. So now, when I connect this adverbial phrase to the VP, you can see it's connecting above the V bar. It's connecting above where the complement connects. All right, and the last thing we have to do is add in our tense. Oh, that should be I'll just add my thick bar in there. And we need to have tense. I'm just going to stick it in there. The judge never jails shoplifters. This is not in the past. So I'm going to say minus past. And all I have to do is join these up. These should connect. Doesn't really matter. You get the idea. All right, there we go. That's our next tree. Let's go on to the last one. So I don't think this one has anything particularly different about it. Let's just make sure. Oh, well, I guess in this case we do have a prepositional phrase. All right. So I'm going to add my NP, all my NPs. Just like that. That's coming over here. It goes down there. This is going to be a prepositional phrase. All right. So now I know from checking that table, I forget the page number now, 158 maybe. I can see that a prepositional phrase can act as the complement for a verb phrase. So this is all good. I've got my TP up here. And I've got my T bar. And my T bar will attach down to my tense marker will. And we're all done. Look at that. Excellent. All right, so those are all the questions that are assigned for the seminar today. Again, I'm really sorry that I couldn't be there. If you have any questions, please send me an email. All right, that's it. Again, if you are confident with these, go on to do questions 10 and 11. And if you need help with that, I have 2 other videos. One's called Syntax Yes or No Questions, and the other one's called Syntax WH Questions. The Yes or No Questions video will help you with question 10, and the WH question video will help you with question 11 on page 179. All right, good luck. Um, Again, my deepest apologies. I will see you on Monday.